Welcome to the Third One channel and a new Q&A for the second season of iCarly, Q&A number 6 following the 7th episode of this season. I've prepared a bunch of questions for this video, so let's go through them one by one and I'll give my thoughts, and please let me know in the comments down below your own answers to these questions. So let's just get started with our first question, which is, were there too many, well, I spelled it wrong, but were there too many plot lines in this episode? So we had 3 plot lines, one involving Carly and Spencer, and one involving Freddie and Millicent, and the last one involving Harper and the drag queens. So I feel that this time around they were trying to do just way too much. We could have had a whole episode based around the UN thing. We could have had a whole episode based around the reality TV, and the Harper, the drag queens. It felt a little bit pushed in there. Like it didn't even meld in. They're like, okay, how do we make this work? Oh yeah, let's just push it in with the model UN stuff, and you know what I mean? It was just a bit too mushed together, a bit too much going on. And in the future, I wish they would bottle off the episodes a little less. I wish we'd see the characters interact together more. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like however they did it in the original should be the way to go. I don't think they were bottling as much there. I think mostly we had Carly, and whoever was with Carly was in the scene. I think that kind of made more sense. But moving on to our next question, which is, has Spencer always been quote unquote bossy, as Freddie called him, as it kind of alluded to in the episode? And honestly, I'll get to Spencer as a whole a little bit later, but has he always been bossy? Not really. He was always just that super chill parent, or I know he's the brother, but he was the guardian. He was so chill. There's only a few times where he had to put a foot down and say, "Carly, no," or anything. Like he always just let her friends come over whenever, eat anything from the fridge. He was super chill. And I mean, there's reasons for that. So he was never that bossy type. Was he competitive? Sure, but he wasn't bossy, and he wasn't the way they described him in this episode, in my opinion. So it kind of hurts his continuity. But let me know if I'm wrong on that, because yeah, something kind of felt off about this episode. But I'll get into that a little bit later with a different question. Next up, were the flashbacks necessary? So I do love the idea of some prequel flashbacks if they make sense for the episode and if they're necessary. But a flashback like this, I feel like it only hurts the show's continuity, adding new faces, messing with different stories that happened before. We've seen a prequel flashback of Carly and Sam, but that one was done a lot better, and I thought that was a lot more necessary than this one. I thought this one, what was it supposed to prove? That Spencer was bossy before, or he was competitive? They could have used like so many different scenes from the original in a flashback instead of this. This felt like it was rushed and lazy and wasn't thought through, and there was just no reason for the flashback, in my opinion. It kind of hurt my whole like feeling about iCarly and kind of the show as a whole. I don't know, maybe I'm making it too big of a deal, but I didn't really like it at all. But let me know what you guys thought of. Obviously, I think I'm really curious to see what you guys think. Next up, will we see Henry again? So what was his name? Henry von Bietenmeyer, was that it? Or Gavelmeyer? So I've heard rumors, or actually, I think someone wrote a comment. I forgot who it was, but someone wrote a comment in the comment section about how Millicent develops a crush this season, and I don't know if this is the beginning of it or if that was just a rumor, but I feel like this could have been that. There's a lot of different TV series nowadays which kind of start this relationship as a rivalry, and then it develops into romance and whatever. And could we see Henry again as kind of a competitor for Harper? No, not Harper, Millicent. I think definitely, but the way they set it up here is Millicent's won now, and he ran away, and that's it. So I don't know. It doesn't really give me kind of Drake and Josh with Josh and what's her name? You know what I'm talking about. Who his competitor? I can't remember her name now. Gosh. But you know what I mean. I think, will we see Henry again? I'm leaning towards no, but if Milton's supposed to have a romantic interest, Henry would have been maybe that person. But moving on, original. So what would the original iCarly team do with an episode like this? And this question came to mind when I read a Reddit comment on the iCarly subreddit, which was something like, oh, the original iCarly team would never waste the Globetrotter reality TV series like this. So basically, the idea there is that the original iCarly team would have done way more with that main plot line between Carly and Spencer. They would have made a much bigger focus on the reality TV series. They'd make it much more entertaining. They would make it a whole wraparound. They could even do maybe a 1 hour special around them going to reality TV series. And I completely agree. They kind of just completely like put in this throwaway plot, had some arguments, and then they just made up. Whereas iCarly, the original, would probably make it much more exciting, much more involved. At least that's the way I saw it, and I kind of agreed with that Reddit comment. So let me know what you guys think as well about that one. Moving on, who would Carly have chosen as her partner? So in the very beginning of the episode, they're like, Carly, Paul, her manager, sets up this audition, and she gets to choose a partner. And Freddie's like, oh, I can't, and Harper's like, oh, I can't. And then I guess Carly knew that, so then she was left with Spencer. But if she had to choose a partner, who would it be? Well, I think if Sam was around, it would be Sam. But between Freddie, Harper, and Spencer, who would she choose as her partner? I'm leaning towards, if it's going to be some kind of like adventure thing, I'm leaning towards her choosing Harper because, it's her bestie and they do everything together, whereas Freddie is different. You know what I mean by different. So I think that Carly would have chosen Harper in this case to do something like this, as she has done before. But let me know. I keep saying it, but yes, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm just a lot of these questions. I'm really curious to see what you guys think because I'm a bit divided on some of them. Moving on, next question. What's next for Harper? So we've seen Harper do a lot of different things and pretty much succeed everywhere. And the only, we've seen the two things we've seen her do like full time, and I guess not even full time, but like consistently was be Double Dutch's stylist and work at Skybox. So what is her future with all the success she's finding? Is she going to keep kind of this freelance thing going on, or is she going to rekindle with Double Dutch? Or I don't know. I think that pass the doors can open anyway, but in terms of her future, maybe this freelance works well for a series like this, which needs content over and over. Or maybe she can become Carly's full-time stylist when iCarly really kicks off the web show, because I'm assuming it's going to get bigger and bigger. So I think that could be a good way to go. Maybe Harper needs to be Carly's stylist. I like that one. That's what I'm going to leave it at. Next up, which reality TV show would be a cool feature for iCarly? So similarly to the light of what I was talking about, how the original show would focus in on a reality TV show, make it a full feature, maybe make it an hour. So what reality TV show could feature an iCarly? I don't think anything like AGT, like America's Got Talent or The Voice, would work. I think The Amazing Race is a great idea. So something along the lines of what they were doing in this episode probably works well. I was immediately thinking about Survivor. I'd love to see them spoof Survivor and see if they could survive and then like get knocked out in the first round or something. I'd love that. So my answer for what I think would be the most entertaining would be Survivor. I don't know, something about that, just this brother team between Carly and Spencer, or even like some kind of stupid spin-off between where they go and do a round of Survivor would be so fun to see. I don't know. That's my answer, I guess. Next up, and this is our final question, where I guess this is going to be a bit of a Spencer rant, although I think you guys have heard it before if you watched some of my videos, but I really, really loved Spencer's character in the original series. I'd go as far as to say maybe he was my favorite or second favorite character. But just especially in after this episode, I feel like the revivals kind of got him all wrong. Kind of what he stands for, what he's like, his nature. I'm not saying that Jerry Trainer doesn't know Spencer, but something, it just feels off. He wasn't bossy. He was always laid back and fun, and he really wanted fun. He actually enjoyed spending time with Carly and the gang. Whereas here they paint it as a different picture, where he was more bossy, where he was overly competitive, which he was competitive, but he didn't make it a big deal. He had more fun. He was more artisty. Now it just feels different. Maybe the money has changed him. I don't know, but and also he was what was much a much more heartfelt guy. He didn't make like these crude jokes, or he wasn't as rude to people as he is here. He was very nice in the original. Now I feel like every episode he does something a little bit rude, you know? But maybe that's just me. He still has that extravagant loudness about him, but something is just off about his demeanor and his likability. For me, his likability is really hurt in the revival. And also, this kind of now mixing up what his personality is like is really throwing me off a little bit. But maybe it's just me. Let me know what you guys think about Spencer. I mean, this Spencer was kind of directed for you guys. How do you feel about Spencer? So I'll leave you guys with that. How do you feel about Spencer and the revival? I've kind of shared my opinions. Maybe I can make a whole video on this, kind of like comparing and explaining more detail, because I couldn't do that off the top of my head, but I kind of want to do that. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, this has been the Third Wind channel with another Q&A. Obviously, leave your questions throughout the week, and I'll pick them out, and we can put them in the next Q&A. Stay tuned for a predictions video coming later this week, along with some other goodies, and of course, another review coming on next Friday. A lot of stuff planned for the Third Wind, but for now, this has been the Third Wind, and I'll see you guys very soon with a brand new video. Ciao, ciao.